right, we are joined by Tommy Schultz, the CEO of the American Federation for Children. And we just wrapped up National School Choice Week. And Tommy's here to kind of clue us in and tell us what things we should be excited about, maybe what things we should be paying attention to. Tommy, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Dean, thanks for having me again. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. So tell us what's on the front. What's happening here in the realm of school choice?
Well, people should be excited about the future. I think first and foremost, in the immediate term, you have a half a dozen states with open enrollment periods for their new expanded state level school choice programs. Idaho, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas about to come online. February 4th, the application window opening there for that new massive school choice program. So all of those things, incredibly exciting. And we're already seeing the demand outpace the supply in some of these states. So some of these states, they may open 20,000 new eligible seats. First 48 hours, we're already hitting that many applications. Wow. So once those enrollment periods end, it's going to be really exciting because then we'll go to the legislature in the upcoming session to say, demand is there. You need to expand this program, ideally to every single student in the state. So in the immediate future, that's the really exciting update. That's, going to yield basically what we think this year will probably be north of 1.5 million kids using a school choice program at the state level alone. Right. And next year, the really big exciting news that we touched upon a little bit the last time you and I were speaking was this new federal opportunity, thanks to the Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut Act. There's a kind of the best kept secret within that bill is the school choice tax credit that's within there, the education freedom tax credit, we're calling it. Basically, it allows for every single state to finally have a school choice opportunity, privately funded from donors who want to contribute to scholarship groups, either nationally or within their state. And every single donor can get up to a $1,700 tax credit for making a contribution. So you and your listeners know current law says you can donate to any charity in America, scholarship group, you would get a tax deduction for that. This is a dollar for dollar tax credit. So let's say you theoretically owed the federal government $2,000 in income taxes in a year. If in 2027 you had donated $1,700 to a scholarship fund, you would now only owe the federal government $300 in income taxes. So a really great way to provide leverage and bring billions of dollars off the sideline into K through 12 education. And to help service that whole massive, what we believe is the biggest expansion of school choice in American history, we have now launched our own scholarship vehicle to help service all 50 states. And other scholarship groups can also use this technology and this operating system that we're building to raise and deploy funds into their schools, help families get access to better educational options. So we're super excited about this. I mean, this will be the golden age of American education, in my opinion, thanks to these massive state level policy changes and this massive federal school choice tax credit that's coming online next year. So a lot to be excited about in the future.
Good news. That's excellent news. I was thrilled actually when I saw that your press release on the scholarship granting organization you guys were involved in. Last time when you and I spoke, and you kind of shed a little bit of light on the scholarship granting organization, which I was really happy about. Somebody brought up a point to me that I want to give you an opportunity to address.
Sure.
Which is, what if, I guess let me ask it this way. Will the states have control over the scholarship granting organization? Could they apply pressure, or could they implement requirements for the scholarship granting organization in terms of hoops to jump through? And if so, what would that look like in a left state like mine?
So really great question. The Treasury Department has put out their, well, at least a request for comment on the rules and regulations that they are currently drafting. Those rules and regulations, the proposed rules, will come out in the next couple of months.
Okay.
And that will spell out a little more the particulars regarding that. We have been, and I think everybody within the coalition of education freedom and school choice has been urging Treasury to just simply keep it, pretty clear, black and white, per the letter of the law that says, here is what basically qualifies as a scholarship granting organization. The law that President Trump signed into law last year spells that out. What are the minimum definitions that it requires to be a scholarship granting group? Some on the left and some who oppose school choice want the states to start over regulating these things, and we don't want that. And because we feel, look, this is a federal income tax credit. Treasury Department owns that. There can't be nefarious strings put on it from the Department of Education, and nor should there be from the states. Essentially, we want to keep this as clean and as simple as possible. And if you're going to make scholarship groups, especially ones that are helping lower income kids, even ones that may be helping kids in public schools or charter schools, private schools, you name it, why would they need to jump through an additional layer of hoops at the state level when simply this is a federal policy change? So the only thing that's within the law that gives the state sort of a purview here is that the governors just have to opt in and submit the list of the scholarship groups that qualify in their state. We do not want an additional layer of regulations on the schools, the scholarship groups themselves. So it's a great question, but I think Treasury Department, they're aware of this issue, and I think they're going to cleanly rule, here is what you can and cannot do. And I think it'll be a pretty limited set of requirements for the SGOs and the governors that they will be able to operate within.
Good. Thank you for that answer.
They do want to obviously make sure there's no fraud and there's no issues. There's audit trails, all these things, which is really important as any financial mechanism. But yeah, I think you and I are in alignment here of, you don't want an additional layer that jeopardizes the ability to help more students or let schools operate.
Right. Good. All right. That's a good answer. Thanks for that. In terms of the SGO you guys are starting, I mean, it looks like you've already got, what was it, 10 million already?
Yes.
I'm looking at your press release, and it looks like you guys have already secured a lot of funds that people have said, yeah, we want to be a part of this.
Well, and those funds that we're going to be deploying will be really towards this year building up the donor awareness across the country, because people don't know about this, right? I mean, there's now more people that know about the Trump accounts, which is obviously a long-term savings vehicle, investment vehicle for families to set their children up for kind of lifetime financial security. But this is an immediate boost to giving families access to a great, school for their children, or to get access to tutoring funds, you name it. But this policy doesn't come online until next year. And it requires donors to actually contribute to a scholarship fund, and then the scholarship fund gives the money to families. So really, we want to really get ahead of this, because there are some scholarship groups and other people that are saying, well, we want to wait and see what the rules and regulations say, or we don't know how to really build up our own, a scholarship group in a particular state might say, I can't raise money yet with the tax credits until 2027. So I'm going to wait until I staff up or invest, or until we have money coming in to really do some massive expansions. Our view is, let's build up the architecture and the infrastructure now for not only our kind of fund, but to help other funds get really the ancillary benefits of that by either integrating directly with our system, or we're just raising awareness for all the donors across the country beyond just kind of media interviews like we're doing today. And our view is that if you can get tens of millions of people aware of this, locked in and ready to start contributing in January of next year, then this program will be successful. More kids can be helped. Every state will be covered versus, if we aren't, doing a massive bolus investment right now to drive that donor awareness, get the leads generated for people, give people the certainty, and the tax prep firms, you name it, all of the clarity that, okay, this is a real program. This is a real tax credit. We want to get people donating, and something akin to like $65 a paycheck next year. That's where we feel if we can build this infrastructure now, invest early, we'll be set up for success in year one, and then protect the program from hostile political attacks in the future if it's really successful and robust.
So that is a very forward-thinking approach. I like that. Let's build the infrastructure. Let's not wait around.
Right.
Let's get the ball rolling. You mentioned $65. Have you done the math? Does that work out to be the 17?
That's basically what it works out to. I forget the exact, is like $4 a day or something like that. But eventually there's a lot of people worried that they're like, well, who's going to outlay $1,700? And it's like, again, you can just break the math down however you want to, but at the $65 a paycheck, especially, and we're going to hopefully try to have productive conversations with some of the payroll processing companies. Treasury, I know, just kind of as a preview, is working on tax forms that'll make it easier to withhold this from your paycheck, right? So if it's sort of just invisibly being taken out of your paycheck or just being redirected to a scholarship group that you've already chosen. The easier we make this, the less painful it becomes from some of the pocketbooks of people in that first year. Because again, you're having to contribute the money in 2027, but then you don't get the credit until 2028. Then you're off and running. But that first year could be
Yep.
that really interesting kind of delay gap that you want to make sure is smoothed out. So we're hoping to come up with a lot of different mechanisms for people to be able to donate really seamlessly and easily. And we're hoping to be the lowest fee structure SGO in the country so that other scholarship groups want to partner with us and that we know that more money is going to the kids at the end of the day.
Yeah, I like that. So I just want to clarify, you guys are out of Texas, but yet the SGO you're creating, people from all over the country, as long as their government is opted in, they can donate to your SGO, right? They don't have to be citizens of Texas. Am I right?
That's correct. And what's really a good clarification point to make there, let's say California, the governor doesn't opt in. We're going to make sure and work hard to make sure that Gavin Newsom maybe does on the way out, or whoever the new governor is that comes in next year will do it. But everybody in California can donate to a scholarship group. Even if your state doesn't opt in, you can still donate. You would just have to send your money out of state or to a national operation.
Okay.
We are seeking to get approved as a scholarship granting organization in every single state. Governor Youngkin, on his way out, actually opted in early. He listed us as one of the scholarship groups that's approved. And our view is that every state should see this as a no-brainer. They should all opt in. In the case that they don't, and it's particularly going to be blue states, every single red state at this point has opted in or has intended to opt in, and they will submit their list of SGOs. But in some of the states that won't, those donors in those states, it's a federal tax credit, for your income taxes. So you can still donate. You would just have to send it or designate it to another state or to a different scholarship group that's operating nationally. So great clarification question.
Yep. Thank you for that. In terms of the blue states, like mine, unfortunately, what can we do? I mean, I've outside of the obvious of just hammering our legislators and our governor, are there steps that you recommend people should take?
I think, yes, contact your governor, contact the staff to the governor, have your schools, if you're on a board of a private school or tutoring companies. I mean, tutoring isn't allowed eligible expense, special needs therapies, even transportation costs could theoretically be covered by these scholarships for students in public, private, charter, you name it. So the view would be, I actually would say, to point to what Governor Paul has said and what has said, which is this is a no-brainer, right? This isn't taking from public schools. This isn't even taking from the state level school choice programs. This is a federal income tax credit fueled by private contributions. Wouldn't it just make sense as a no-brainer policy to say we're opting in, therefore our local scholarship groups, our local schools, our local families will be able to access these great schools? It's just, again, to me, it seems like the messaging is so easy. And at the end of the day, I do think every single state will opt in. It's a question of when. And to really put that pressure is just to make your voice heard. The governor's offices, if they see that, like, gosh, we're getting a ton of inbound from parents, from donors, from the schools that want to participate within that, I think eventually that'll start to get them over the finish line. And knowing part of why we want to do our national work is if a state, and there's plenty of states that don't really have any sort of independent scholarship group, the schools themselves all raise their own funds to help students with financial aid, of course, but you really do need a separate 501c3 entity to operate under this current federal law. Our view is, if we're signaling to the governors that we're willing to go into every state, we're willing to raise money in your state and help deploy scholarship funds to your state, it'd be a real shame if we're raising all this money in your state, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're sending it to Texas or we're sending it to another state that someone is designating their funds to. So our view is we want to make sure that these governors are aware the infrastructure is there, that we will be helping students all across the country. And the more people that kind of make their voices heard there, the better. And I think if too many people try to make this a partisan issue of, you name it, like Trump versus, the states, like, no, guys, this is a federal treasury policy. This is black and white tax code stuff. This is going to help students in your state. It's a no-brainer. It's easy, found money, essentially. Why not do it?
Yeah, why not do it? Exactly. Unfortunately, sides are going to be taken because, well, probably blue state governors feel beholden to unions who are adamantly opposed to anything that would use the words school choice.
Well,
Uh,
you'll laugh on that one. I just saw today a news article from Alaska talking about Governor Dunleavy's opted in Alaska. The local, national union representative there was like, "We oppose this policy. It's bad. It's going to hurt kids." And but in like one of the sentences they said like, "We don't really understand how this policy works, but we oppose it." I'm like, "Well, is that not the ultimate personification of what the teachers unions policies are like?" We don't understand how this will work, but we're definitely opposed to it because we think it hurts us. It's just like
the
it's
epitome.
amazing. It's like, yeah, and it's like, well, okay, Dunleavy's opted in. You can't really oppose it. They were trying to say, well, this violates our state constitution. It's like, well, this is a federal tax code. It has nothing to do with your state constitution.
Uh,
Like they said, they don't understand it. So I doubt they've read the Constitution
right.
either. But
Well, I mean, at least they're being honest to a certain degree, right?
right, right.
Um, Listen, I want to be mindful of your time, but can I ask you one more question?
Of course, as many as you want.
And this might be, I don't know, inside baseball in terms of the SGO, but uh, how do you guys go about, if, you're going to be spread out, hopefully available in every state. What's your process of sending money or choosing which schools you're going to offer scholarships to, or however that works?
Yeah, we're going to go through a process where we obviously want high quality schools. We also want to encourage new schools that have come online. There's a lot of states that have school choice policies at the state level, but due to different, structures, it's of accreditation or other issues, some of the new great operators actually aren't able to participate in those programs just yet. Our view is we want kids and families to have the most options available, going to the best schools. As over the next years, we really develop out our own kind of internal policies, both in terms of how much are we going to fund, families, right, or per kid, per pupil, whether it's in a homeschool environment or in a private school, income thresholds of how much do we want to distribute. We want to keep everything simple so that a parent just knows if I'm applying or if I'm working with my school and people have designated money to my school, because that's part of the law that you can actually designate an earmark to a school as a donor. We'll have to sort all those kind of details out. So it's a little bit too early for me to put
Mhm,
some anything into stone tablets, so to
mhm,
speak. But our view is, how do we help the most kids? How do we get the network as big as possible? So we want to work with as many of the private school associations that are out there. There's a lot of other companies that are operating kind of tuition or financial aid management that reach tens of thousands of schools. We're going to try to partner with them and give them just easy operating system type of access to just partner with us. So again, it's easy for the parents at the end of the day. So we'll be kind of determining out what that looks like at the end of the day, probably by the end of this year. Obviously, once we turn this on, and
mhm.
we'll have a series of announcements over the next few months. But really, chief kind of goal over the near term, midterm is getting just donors aware that this exists, because this is all a voluntary contribution program that people need to actually contribute and get the tax credit. And if we don't get raised a lot of funds for our scholarship group and other scholarship groups across the country, that's what really puts all of this into jeopardy, because you're just not helping as many kids at that point. So
Mhm.
that's the chief goal right now, and we'll get to all the other policies in the coming months and year.
Is there anything we can do to help out with that? Anything the listeners can do that, I guess just talk about it, right?
Sure. I check out our website, afcscholarshipfund.org. We also, if you're curious about the law and kind of how it's written and what everything says, we have another page called federalscholarships.com, which kind of gives you a little more nitty gritty details there. But go to there, put in your email, sign up. We'll have kind of a series of news, announcements, info. We're going to be doing a lot of videos, info sessions, getting toolkits out for parents and schools, donors, tax prep firms, you name it. So check out both those websites, get signed up. Follow us online on our social media pages, School Choice Now. That's our handle there. So big, exciting year. And really, if everybody can become a philanthropist, everybody can actually get a tax credit, donate to kids, help fuel a revolutionary change in this country in our K through 12 system. Because as you know, I mean, the test scores are rock bottom. Parents are furious at the system. Gallup does that poll every year or so that is showing each year record low approval of our K through 12 future and how people are viewing education in this country. We can finally change that thanks to some of these major policies. So, yeah, follow along, get involved.
Everybody can be a philanthropist.
That's
I like
right.
how you said that. A couple of days ago, I made note of your press release and just commented on how I gave an example here in Michigan of how the governor and the State Board of Education is revamping sex ed in the state
Sure.
to bring it under the umbrella of health classes, which are a required course. And the whole point is so that they can subvert sexual education. And it is another example as to the work that AFC is doing and supporting school choice. So thank you for that. There's two reasons, and I want to say this before I let you go. There's two main reasons why I like AFC so much. Number one, you guys are well versed in the law. You understand what's happening. You've got a good grasp on things. And number two, as you've demonstrated in this conversation, you're forward thinking and you're looking for a solution. So I encourage my listeners to tell everybody they know, go to your website, let's get this information, let's spread it around. Tommy, thanks for your time today. I know it's valuable and I appreciate you and your information.
Thanks, Dean. Big, exciting things afoot. Thank you for the kind words about our team. Look, we always want to try to fill the gap of the hardest problem to solve, right? Whether especially the election work that our elections division does to try to elect the people to actually champion these types of laws at the state level, or like in this scholarship instance, we want to fill this gap where there's geographies that don't have scholarship groups, or really invest heavily on the front end to make sure that millions of donors become aware of this to help other scholarship groups. We love doing that tough work because at the end of the day, we're trying to help as many kids as possible and fix our education system. It's a civilizationally important issue. In our view, is the primary and elementary and secondary education of our children. We got to get this right, especially for young kids that are desperately needing it. So thanks for the time today, Dean.
You're welcome. All right, we'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon.